So we make fun of Netflix a lot on this channel. Or well, I do at least. You don't really get to say much. From the war crimes that were the live action adaptations of Avatar and Kage-Garui,
My name is Yumiko, and I've been bad.
to the atrocity that was The Deliverance.
I can smell your nappy.
To the fact that Netflix keeps trying to force you to watch ads even though you already have to pay for it. Even YouTube doesn't do that. For now at least. And let's not forget that Netflix has just objectively gone worse and gotten less movies over the last couple of years. Thanks for that, by the way, Disney and HBO and Amazon and like all the other streaming services. But I think I finally might have found the actual worst movies on Netflix. Now Netflix has made a lot of, how do I say this nicely? Oh yeah, shit. But these are so bad. I genuinely don't understand how they made it onto Netflix. Like, I'd expect this from Toby, but you, Netflix? Alright, fair. Counterpoint. Anyways, these movies are so bad, I had to make this video, so let's get into it. I'm already starting to regret this. I am sweating, bro. This is already torture. I'm burning to death over here. Anyways, this movie's a piece of shit. You know what, honestly, I could leave it at that, but I wasted an hour and a half of my life on this movie, so you also have to suffer. So this movie was originally called Valley of the Witch, but then they eventually changed the name to Conjuring the Dead to try and sucker dumbasses into thinking it's an actual Conjuring movie, because let's be real, nobody was gonna watch it otherwise. Now, before even getting into the movie, first, there's a 4-minute long opening credits sequence. I'm not kidding, it's literally just 4 minutes of watching a car drive around with literally nothing else going on, and to make it just that tiny little bit worse, there's this terrible, I refuse to even call it music, because it's literally just 4 notes played on repeat, looping the entire scene. Though I'm not gonna lie, I think I got Stockholm syndromed into liking it. This is our main character, Kristen. I think that's her name anyways, I barely remember. Her husband recently divorced her, so to escape the big sad, she's moving across the country. And her husband recently took low-tier god's advice. So, to escape the big sad, she's moving across the country. Whoa. Deja vu. You should watch that video, by the way. It's a good video, trust me. Anyways, she's moving to the lovely village of... yeah, I'm not even gonna attempt to pronounce that shit. In Wales, because of course it's in Wales, only the Welsh could make you feel like your vocal cords are being violated by just trying to pronounce whatever this bullshit is. She randomly comes across a guy lying in the middle of the road for some reason. He then gets up and mean mugs her as she drives off. I don't get why this is in the movie, and as you'll see, that's gonna be a running theme. Then we watch her buy groceries. That's it, that's the entire scene. The movie's only an hour and 20 minutes long, and honestly, that's being generous, but it felt like 3 hours. It's like the script wasn't even long enough to fill an hour, so they decided to drag everything out as much as possible to get to that juicy hour 20 mark. It's like a YouTuber dragging out a video by describing every single tiny little detail of every single scene. Kristen moves into her new house, and the upstairs neighbor also mean mugs her for some reason. The neighbor lady comes over to introduce herself, and Kristen invites her in. You're probably expecting the neighbor lady to be super nefarious because of that clearly evil stare she was giving Kristen, but she isn't, like at all, so I don't get why they tried to make her so ominous. Then the neighbor lady has a fucking fever dream or something. What is this music? Did I just start an Elden Ring boss fight? Is that Satan? What the f is going on? Are these the witches of the fucking valley? Now, I'm not exactly a master editor, in case you couldn't tell, but I'm pretty sure that the audio mixing, I think that's the right word, but I'm pretty sure the audio mixing is, ass! I had to crank up the volume just so I could actually hear what the hell they were saying, but then the movie decided to press an entire cock out through my headphones and directly into my ears, so it could violate me with this off-brand Dark Souls boss music. Also, I've absolutely no idea what's going on in this scene. There's a doll, there's some creepy witches, I think, Satan is there, the colors get all inverted, there's a fucking PNG jump scare. You wanna explain this shit? Come on, You try it. The neighbor lady, and yes, that's what I'm gonna keep calling her because I don't remember what her name is and I'm too lazy to look it up, invites Kristen over to have a cup of tea. Nothing actually happens in this scene other than that we find out that the neighbor lady is a witch. And also Kristen gets really weird about it for some reason, which I don't get. But I do have to mention this scene so I can talk about something really dumb later. The jump scares are also pretty funny.
What is it?
There's also a whole side plot with the cops investigating why people keep taking low-tier gods' advice. It's really boring and it really doesn't matter, so the only thing I'm gonna say about it is that it's a little weird that the cops don't question why so many people keep trying to meet Queen Elizabeth. We get another dream scene where a bunch of witches get burned. Oh my god, why is there so f***ing much of this? Why is this f***ing edited like this? It looks like shit! What are these filters they keep putting on everything? Why is it green? What the f*** is this? We watched them burn alive for 2 whole ass entire f***ing minutes. I was sleep deprived while watching this, so I was really trying not to have a dream sequence of my own. And after that, Kristen gets attacked by a random Satanist dude. She stabs him with a pencil and he immediately dies. She's just like, oh shit, got stabbed in the neck, immediate dead, but magically he's just gone by the time the cops get there. So because all the evidence magically disappeared, the cop doesn't believe her at all, so Kristen, has a crash out, and the cop's just like,
the caucasity of this bitch,
and leaves. Kristen decides that she should probably just move back to London, and she also tries to get the neighbor lady to move with her even though she's known her for a f***ing week. But she doesn't because the cops find the guy that tried to kill her dead in a random field. So the cop actually believes her now, and he takes her statement. But the cult, or whatever, influences him to commit a David.
I'm running out on the road. There is a car, and it is going to hit me.
Kristen finds out from a newspaper and immediately becomes depressed. You knew him for like a day! He was nice to you for like a minute, and you're immediately soggy for this. We watch her walk around in slow-mo for a whole ass minute because this movie fucking drags. The priest that I haven't mentioned at all up until this point because he doesn't matter, randomly shows up and kidnaps her. He gives her some tea. I'm editing this right now. It's not tea, it's coffee. And Kristen explains all the weird shit that's been happening to her. The neighbor lady shows up and they start prepping to, I don't know, break the curse or whatever on the village. But the priest suddenly doesn't want to help because something witchcraft is against the Bible, the blah 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 blah. So he just leaves and randomly has a stroke. I know you think I'm bullshitting, right? You probably think I'm bullshitting. No, this is the plot of this movie. I'm describing exactly what happened in this movie. Meanwhile, Kristen and the neighbor find the exact info they're looking for on some random site. What is this? Tarot? She's actually a descendant of the head witch that we saw burned to death. Now, remember that one scene that I mentioned didn't matter, but was gonna matter for something dumb later? Yeah, well, the neighbor lady's random friend from that one scene actually matters, because they go to get the guy's help with the ritual, but oh no, it turns out he's actually the evil cult leader. Kristen tries to escape, but the cult surrounds her and she just lets herself get kidnapped. Again. They crucify them and burn them alive for good measure, and we watch them burn alive for so fucking long, and the witches get randomly resurrected as zombies, I think, and that's how it ends. What? What? That's how it fucking ends? That's how it fucking ends? No, fuck you, movie, fuck off. So, what the fuck was that ending? So this random guy that has only been in one other scene turns out to be the bad guy. And then he sacrifices Kristen and the other two to get rid of the curse, I guess. But then why did that random Satanist guy try to kill Kristen? The bad guy's cult seems to be a Christian cult, so are there two separate cults in this tiny Welsh village? Is there like an epic battle between the Satanists and the not Satanists happening in this random town? Also, why did they get rid of the evidence of the Satanist dude attacking Kristen if he wasn't part of their cult? And why didn't they actually get rid of his body? I mean, they clearly do magic shit. Like, they clearly killed the priest with magic. and there's literally no other way they got rid of the evidence. So why'd they just leave the body in a random field? Also, what was with the random zombie witches at the end? Seriously, what was the point of that? And again, it's such a stupid twist to have this random guy that was like in one other scene be the main villain. It's like, okay, this is gonna be a weird comparison. Remember in Zootopia when the sheep woman turns out to be the main villain, and it's like, it's underwhelming because it's like, okay, yeah, but like, she was barely a character, so it's like, who gives a f that she turns out to be the main villain, you know? Yeah, it's the same here. Now, aside from that, do I even need to explain why the movie sucks? It looks like ass, the audio mixing violently assaulted me, the characters suck, the acting is ass except for the cop guy, he's alright. And on top of that, it commits the greatest sin of all. It's so fucking boring! Everything's padded to hell, the movie drags out every single scene, so yeah, the movie's bad. No wait, that's going easy. It's dog shit. But my, and by extension your suffering, isn't over yet. Because I watched a whole other random Netflix ripoff for some reason. Because I hate myself, I guess. You see, it's different from Paranormal Activity because it's not just any ghost. No. It's specifically a poltergeist. And also because that's an actually good movie and this one sucks the slimiest, most rotten dick. I didn't actually realize this at first, but both movies are actually made by the same company, which probably explains what both of them are absolute ass. The terrible music is also still there, though at least I could actually hear what they were saying this time. There's some random narration about how ghosts work. It literally doesn't matter, so I don't know why it's there, because it's just there to be all deep and shit. This is David, and he and his daughter Catherine are moving to a random village in the English countryside. The obligatory cliche spooky neighbor lady comes over, and obviously she knows that the house is haunted, but for some reason she doesn't actually warn them because I guess she knows otherwise we wouldn't have a movie. They start unpacking and the daughter finds a spooky doll under the bed. This thing is dumb, and I don't get why it's here. Yeah, the movie's split into chapters for some reason. They're having breakfast and Catherine is being needlessly bitchy to her dad because he made some pasta for breakfast. She leaves to go be sad and look at some photos because she's an amateur photographer, I guess. But oh no, there's a spooky ghost in one of them. Later that night, she's harassed by the spooky doll while she's listening to her favorite 4-second loop of royalty-free music. Meanwhile, the dad almost gets strangled by the bed sheets because I guess the bed is evil. Next morning, Catherine's trying to put the doll in the attic instead of just, you know, throwing it away. Later, while looking through the camera roll, she notices that somebody took some creeper pics of her while she was sleeping. She, for some reason, immediately assumes that her dad must secretly be Dr. Disrespect. He denies being Dr. Disrespect. She gets mad that he's denying being Dr. Diddy-spect and leaves. That night, the doll sneaks back into her room and the dad throws it away like they should have just done from the start.
You gonna make me act up.
Catherine comes home with some random dude from school to smash. And here I just want to point out the very obvious fact that this girl clearly is not a teenager. Like, she's clearly in her mid-20s at least. But for some reason, they got her to play a 16-year-old, which ends up being very cringe and kind of weird. They try to clap cheeks, but they're interrupted by ghosts. Dad comes home, checks shit out, there's no ghosts, and he gets mad at Catherine, even though it could have been a burglar. Later that night, shit finally hits the fan. The dad almost gets strangled by the doll, which is so fucking goofy. It also turns out that the ghost is actually Dr. Disrespecter, because I'm pretty sure the ghost diddies her? I'm not kidding, that's actually a thing that happens in this movie. The dad saves her after struggling very hard to pry the doll's tiny little baby arms off his neck. They get out of there, and the neighbor lady randomly shows up again.
My God, is everything alright?
Does it look like it?
So, the neighbor gives him the lore. Basically, evil rich guy lived there with a bunch of slaves. The slaves didn't really enjoy being slaves, so one of them killed the evil rich guy. Also, one of them gave the doll to the evil rich guy's kid, but the doll's cursed, so evil shit happened, I guess. So, the dad randomly... What the f*** was that voice crack? Alright, whatever. We'll leave it in. So the dad randomly finds a ghost expert guy who's played by the priest from the last movie. They try really hard to add in some weird, dumb ghost lore. They really, really, like, tried to explain how ghosts work in this movie, and I don't get why. Is this also just here for padding? The dad goes home, and we get a scene of him apologizing for being a shitty deadbeat. And I'll give this guy some credit. He's trying very hard to act. That's literally the only bit of credit I'll give this movie.
Why are we still here?
Anyways, they perform a seance. The random seance lady that literally only shows up in this one scene kills the neighbor. I'm pretty sure the ghost expert guy gets killed by the doll. The daughter gets dragged into her room, but the dad actually saves her this time, and they just get in the car and drive off.
So what was the f***ing point in all this then?
Do I have to explain why this movie is bad? No, really. Do I need to point out all the dumb shit? Like, it's better than the other one, but it's still really boring. And if you think either of these movies sounded kind of fun, that was me. And I don't get how the f these movies made it onto Netflix. Like, is there no QC? Does nobody look this shit over? Does nobody care at Netflix? Oh, well, we know the answer to that. Nobody cares on Netflix. Nobody cares. They'll just greenlight anything. But like, let's be real, I'm not seriously mad about that, because one, I don't care, and two, it's free content for me, baby. But at the same time, these movies were bad. These movies were really bad. Like, they were impressively bad. Like, it's almost to the point where it's like, did you try to make this bad? But no, I don't think they tried. Like, they play this shit very seriously. There's not a single moment where this feels like they knew that this was dog shit. Like, it feels like they genuinely thought this was good, which is really, really funny to imagine. My suggestion? Don't watch these. Don't watch these. Don't fucking watch these. Unless you like torturing yourself, I guess. Anyways, this was a video. This was a video. I'm gonna get... Holy shit!
Up.
Is that you? Is that the ghost of Diddy? Oh no, oh no!